Hey everyone, it's Dana here with Love Soul Flowers, and we have a fun project tonight. But just want to remind you, we are having ours up to 60% off sale on our website, lovesouloflowers.com. And you don't need a coupon code for that, so that's easy enough, right? Just put it in your cart, and it will show the price that it is discounted. So you don't have to worry about any coupon codes or things. And again, that is up to 60% off on regular Soul Flowers. And you can check out the rest of the discounts on our website. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can search Love Soul Flowers on there. And if you subscribe, you'll get notifications and stuff when things go on there. Hi, Shauna. It's also a way for you to be able to search the tutorials that we have, because Facebook doesn't allow us to label them anymore. It labels it in the post, but when you go back to the video tab, you can't actually search by the name of the tutorial, which is really weird. Hi, Jessica. But our YouTube channel, you can just type in Love Soul Flowers and then see all of our tutorials, and they're all labeled there. So that's a little easier. So if you haven't done that, subscribe to our tutorials there on YouTube. We also have a community group, and that is facebook.com/groups/lovesoloflowers. And that's a place for you to be able to share your work, be able to get some advice and tips and tricks, and a place that we can encourage each other through the process of crafting or building weddings or even having businesses. So join our group if you haven't. Hey, Christina. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Hi, Callie. And I thought today would be fun. I know that hi, Emery. I know I get asked a lot about irises. And I thought, there's a way we can turn one of our flowers into an iris. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to wait for just a few more minutes while people come in. But let me show you what it looks like. Now, irises, there are lots of different kinds of styles of irises. I looked up iris. And I knew what the basic iris looked like, but then when I actually looked them up, there's lots of different kinds of styles. So I did in our group, which is the Facebook Love Soul Flowers group, I did post a picture of the iris that I'm creating. So it is the style that you can see. It's a basic iris. I'm thinking maybe I'll paint these in the tutorial. Hi, Carla. I'm going to paint these maybe next week in the tutorial because it takes some hand painting. But the thing is they have to dry before I do that. So I can't do them tonight and show you how to make it at the same time. So I'm going to make them tonight, and then maybe we'll paint them next week. I'm going to do a purple iris probably. But irises even come in all different colors. But let me show you the iris that I've made. Can you see it? Okay, and if you look again in our group, you'll see the picture of the iris that it's supposed to be looking like. And all you need is water and a closed peony, okay? So make sure that when you search peony that you pick the one called closed peony. And I'm gonna do one with the 3-inch size and one with the 2-inch size, just in case you have one size or the other. Let me see if I can get this a little closer to you. Okay, so this is the iris we are going to make tonight. And like I said, we're going to paint them next week. And obviously when you paint them, they look more like an iris, because then it's easy to tell, because the iris, has some distinct coloring. It has purple usually on the outside and yellow on the inside. So it will help you be able to kind of visualize it once it's painted. But we're going to make these tonight. So I have a closed peony. I have a 3-inch and I've got the 2-inch. And I'll make both of them. And, I needed it to go in there anyway, but I wasn't ready yet. But my bowl of water here does have a drop of glycerin in it, so that we don't have to worry about when we paint it later mixing any sort of thing. So this does have a drop of vegetable glycerin. So we often get questions about how to soften the flowers so that they don't chip. In order to soften it, you don't need anything special except for vegetable glycerin. We do have some videos on how to use those. And again, just a little drop in your water is plenty for tonight. So I literally just go like that and it's done. So I don't worry about any other thing. Also, my water is cold. So we have talked about when we dip and when we want hot and when we want cold. So if it's cold, then it makes the flowers not as mushy. When you do hot water, your flour becomes super duper 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 flexible, and sometimes it's a little bit too flexible because we do want some body to it so that it holds its shape. So this is cold water with a drop of glycerin in it. So I don't do hot water when I'm just trying to maneuver a few things. Hot water might be if you really need to completely change the shape, but I do cold water. So just so you know, okay? So I'm gonna take my 3-inch closed peony, and I'm gonna take 3 petals. Now, I'm going to dip it in the water, but what I'm gonna do, let me see if I can get a little closer here, is just rotate it real fast. I'm not gonna get it super soaked. I'm just gonna rotate it. And my outer layer is going to be 3 petals, okay? So I'm gonna take 1 petal, I'm gonna fold it back, and I'm going to curl it. I'll put it up close so you can see. Curl it in the opposite direction. Now, once these are wet, they're super flexible. So as you can see, I pulled 1 petal out and I like inverted it, okay? So the next one, I'm going to either tear off or cut off. If it's starting to pull your strings, you're gonna wanna use a scissor, but if it pops right off, then that's fine. So then I'm gonna do another one. So I'm gonna skip this one too, because on a 3-inch, you've got a lot in that back row. And then I'm gonna take my petal and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to invert it. I'm gonna literally pop it backwards, okay? All right, so now I've got 2, and then I only need 1 more in that row. So I'm gonna pull off this guy. It's a little bit softer here, so I'm gonna use a scissor just so I don't pull out my strings here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my other one and I'm going to invert that as well. Now, sometimes these petals, I'm kind of glad this one did it, are a little bit thicker on the ends. So I'm gonna take my scissor and I'm just gonna round it just a little bit, okay? And then I'm gonna squeeze it. Now, again, once these things are wet, they're super duper flexible. I'm just gonna give it a pinch, okay? So I've got 3 on the bottom that are inverted in the opposite direction, okay? Then with the 3-inch, there's another layer that I'm going to cut out. Hi, Holly. Okay, so with the 3-inch, the next layer up, I'm going to, to pull out as well. Now, when you have the 2-inch, you have less rows. So I'm gonna show you how to do a 2-inch too. So I'm just gonna get rid of a few of this row, and I'll show you what I need. So I'm going to keep about 4 of these guys up here. And the inside ones, so okay, so I've got 3 down, 4 up. I wonder if you did that with all of them. Probably. And then I'm going to twist my inside little guys together, okay? So the inside gets twisted. Then I've got these guys, okay? So I've got 3 backwards, 4 up. Now with the ones that are 4 up, I'm gonna take them and just twist them a little tighter. Now again, once you've got water on these, they're kind of super flexible. And you're gonna be able to kind of mold these and shape them. And if they're giving you a little fight, then you can just wet your fingers. Okay. So I'm gonna just give them a little twist at the top. See how I did the 4? So there's 3 down, 4 up, and then a center. Now, the center is a little bit chunky for me, so I think I'm just gonna get rid of 1 more petal here. It's like a little bit thick. I'm just gonna get rid of 1 more. It's just a little bit too full looking for me. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna twist that center back up again. So I'm gonna twist it down, and then I'm just gonna trim so it's a little bit shorter than my ones that are up. Now see this one, how it's a little bit fat again, kind of like the other one. I'm gonna trim it down just so it's a little bit pointier, and I can retwist it after that. Okay, so I'm gonna wet my fingers again, make sure it's wet enough to do a little twist. And then when you put these to dry, they will stay like this, okay? So we've got the 3 petals inverted out, okay? 3 petals out, 4 petals up, and the center twisted and trimmed down. And again, once you start painting these, you know, it's easier to imagine them as that, because sometimes when it's just white, it's kind of hard to imagine it. So I'm gonna do one in a 2-inch. And again, this is just cold water with a drop of glycerin. I just dunk my flour in there, wet it up, shake it off. I don't need any of the excess. And I'm gonna pick 3 petals to be inverted outwards. So I'm gonna take one, see, and invert it. So then the one next to it, it's gonna get removed. Then the one next to that, which is the every other one kinda, is gonna get inverted. Then the one next to that one, hi Tracy, is gonna get pulled off. And then we're back to again, thanks Pamela. Back to again, the 3. For me, it's much easier to do a 2-inch. So if you have the 2 inches, it's kind of easier to do them because there's not so many petals you have to pull off actually. And then we need to have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to have 4 in the center. So I'm gonna pop off one of those. Sometimes your flowers may have like a different number of petals, just how it's made. And I'm gonna give them a twist, okay? Those 4 up ones, I give a twist. And in the 2-inch, the center is already shorter than those anyway, so you're not gonna have to necessarily trim that. Okay, and then again, as soon as you dry these will stay in this shape, and then once it's dry, you're gonna be able to hand paint these guys, which we'll do in the next tutorial. Hand paint them without them losing this new shape. This is a closed peony. So this one is the 2-inch. For me, the 2-inch is much easier than the 3-inch. Just less petals to like deconstruct. But it's 3 out. Again, this was a style. I did post the picture. There are many different looks to an iris. I didn't know that, but there are when I actually Googled it. And so I did post what we're going for, the iris that we're going for, in our community group. So you can take a look there. So we've got the 3 out, we've got the 4 up, and then the little center guy. And again, we're gonna paint these purple and then have that yellow center. It's gonna be very clearly an iris when it's not just white. Although I'm sure the irises come in white. I don't really know. I know I get asked a lot for irises, but I don't really know too much about them. All right, I'm gonna do one more 3-incher while we have you here in case you missed the 3-inch. Then again, I'm gonna let these dry over this week and I'm going to paint them next week. Again, this is cold water with a drip of glycerin. So the closed peonies are on our website, lovesolaflowers.com. You could always search flower names. And in the search bar, you can always look for things through that. So if you type in closed peony, it'll bring you right to it. So this is the style we're using to make the iris. Again, our sale is up to 60% off regular Sola Flowers, and the discounts on any of our items are no coupon necessary, so it's super easy for that. All right, so I'm gonna dip it again. There is a white iris, but does it have like does it have yellow in it or anything? Is it just white, like solid white? I'll look it up because maybe I'll do a few different colors. Maybe I'll paint them each a different color next week and we can just practice with some styles. Okay, so I wet my 3-inch closed peony in my glycerin water, and I'm gonna just start by taking one off And I'm going to pull this one off too, so that I'm left with kind of a single guy here. And I'm just going to invert him. Okay. This one was actually like a double petal. He was extra thick there. And then I'm going to take my other one. And again, I'm going to do 3 inverted. So the ones that are in between the 3 are going to come off. Oh, it does have a touch of yellow. Yeah, all the ones I saw had a little yellow. So I'm gonna look up some pictures before I paint them. Okay, so I've got my 3 out, and then again I want 4 up top, and then my center nice and tight. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Let me pick which one to pop out. Okay, I'm gonna pop this one out. Okay, and then we're gonna just give a little twist to make them a little thinner than our outy ones. Again, if your petal is fighting you a little bit, it means it is not wet enough. So what you do, just take, because you don't want to now redip the whole flower in once you've already shaped the outer petals, because it'll unshape them. So I just stick my fingers like that, and you dip it in, and you put all colors, right? Even black. Oh wow. Well, I'll get a couple. We'll do a couple different colors. So I'm going to twist those suckers again. Now, irises have like a kind of a swooshy outer petal, so it's not necessary to like flatten these things out, because they have a natural ruffle, kind of. They're like that. And my center, I'm going to take them together. This one's a little bulky again. Sometimes with the 3-inch, you might need to debulk it just a little bit by pulling out an extra. And we're gonna give that center a little twist. Again, if it's wet, you can do that. And I'm gonna just trim a little nubbin off the top. This is a little square, so I'm just gonna round it just a little bit. Okay. All right, so we have 3 inverted out, 4 twisted in and up, and then the rest of our center bunched tight into like a little nubbin. And then we just put these to the side, let them dry, and they need to dry because we don't want our paint, when we hand paint, to run too much, because we have to do a yellow center, and I just want it to be dry enough where we're not running into issues of oversaturation. So if you want to see again, here's our irises. Again, once they are painted, it'll be much easier to identify them as irises. But again, I saw so many different styles. I just blew on it because I just wanted to dry it a little bit, because sometimes when they're over wet, they won't stay. So if they are over wet, you just keep twisting it until it's a little bit drier. I know that it feels like maybe blowing wouldn't dry it, but it actually does dry it enough to give it a squeeze. And then that's your iris. Okay, so we're gonna have, let me just move them over here where you can see them. So you can see all my little irises here. They dry very fast. The close peony itself dries pretty fast, even when before this, but because they're nice thin petals and now they're spread out, they'll be dry pretty quickly. This one already dried, and I did it right before I did the tutorial, so it dried in a few minutes. I'm gonna make my last one so that next week I have enough different options to do different colors. But they are really cute, and it's super easy. And most people have some peonies hanging around. So if someone asks for irises, now you can tell them that you can do them. And I think that's a thing. I know some people are like, oh, Love Soul Flowers doesn't carry this real flower, but people keep asking for it. But sometimes even with a little bit of hot glue, maybe it's not just water, but sometimes you can turn our flowers into a real flower that maybe people are asking for. And so I was thinking of maybe for the next couple of tutorials, maybe turning other flowers into things and how we can make them. I think the closed peony can also kind of look like a daffodil sometimes if you do it right. So just with some trimming and some water, you can turn flowers into other flowers. And so we just got to get creative because some flowers are harder to make and ship. And so we don't necessarily carry. I think I lost you. So I'm back again. Sorry. The fun part about it is that we can be creative and make all the different styles with things that we already carry or already have in our home. So that is tonight's tutorial. And we will, hi Kim, I'm in New Jersey. Oopsie, we're close. So anyway, we're going to paint these next week. So we'll leave these as white to dry for now. And then when we come back together next week, or maybe even if I have time on the weekend, I'll paint them so we don't have to wait. And then we'll finish that. All right, everyone, have a great Friday tomorrow and the weekend after that. And we will see you next week. All right, guys, bye.